Today, I want to talk about eye contact and specifically why we struggle with it at times, why it's important, and how to get good at it. As simply as I can say, eye contact is important because it's like the core way that we initially judge somebody's intentions and their emotional state around us. Okay, and then therefore how we feel in response to that. So even unconsciously, people will see somebody and they go, is this person a threat? Are they dangerous? Are they friendly? Are they trying to get something from me? And how should I react and respond? And based on the way that you present yourself initially in those moments is going to really dictate how somebody feels immediately. In the first 30 seconds, are they going to be more receptive? Are they going to be open? Are they going to be warm to you? Or are they going to be closed off, awkward, uncomfortable, and maybe apprehensive? So it's really important to understand it's not just about like, how do we build attraction and how do we look confident? Like, yes, those are important, but it's just helps the other person understand how should I feel and behave around this individual. We have to understand that it is deeply, deeply important to cultivating our first impressions. So then why do we struggle with it? Why do we avoid it in the first place? I tend to think it's just a habit that's been formed over many, many years. Because if you look at children, and you probably look back to yourself. There was probably a time in your life where you didn't even think about making eye contact. You just did. And you see children do this all the time. They just look at everybody. They'll stare right at them, man, woman, older person, younger person, it doesn't matter. They'll look deep into their eyes and not even think about it. And often because a lot of us don't really worry about ourselves when we're 8 to 13 or so. And I would argue that almost all of us have had moments in our lives, years in our lives, where we were actually very good at eye contact and something changed. We started to worry about being judged, about being perceived a certain way. We felt intimidated by others. And again, we didn't want people to feel like we were doing something wrong or bothering them or had some kind of nefarious intentions. So what happens is we actually start to consciously avoid it with people. At first, I don't want to look too long, or this is going to be weird. And then we do it again, and we do it again. And we do it again. And before you know it, it starts to become a habit and it becomes the default mode that we interact with certain people. I tend to find, especially for men, we do this with women we find attractive or men that we feel are powerful or intimidating. The real issue with making this a habit is you actually build up a story in your head that this is going to be so uncomfortable and awkward to hold eye contact, and that it's really scary. And it's like horrifying to even think about holding eye contact with a beautiful woman for a while because like it's going to be this really terrible situation. And that's why, many of us can still hold eye contact with people that we're comfortable with, and with women we can't, not necessarily because anything is actually different, but we've built up this habit which creates a narrative of this is Medusa and I cannot stare into this. I can't stare into the sun or I'll go blind. And so that leads me to my first mindset, which is the more that I avoid eye contact, the more that I will fear it, the more that I will strengthen this narrative, the more that it will become overwhelming and a monster to me. And the only way to get over that is to commit to slowly really looking at people. Because a lot of people, we do what we call, or what I call, half looking, which is like you might be making eye contact with people, but you're just kind of looking in their direction and not really like holding, striking eye contact, looking at their face, seeing how they respond to you and react to you. We just kind of look in their direction, but it's like we're looking at a thing as a whole instead of looking at the person and seeing how they look and respond and react. This is a hard concept to grasp. So I actually had a client that I took out in Barcelona, Spain one time, and I told him this. He struggled with flirting and showing women interest. And he's like, but I can make eye contact. See, I can look at some women and I can look in their direction. But I could tell that when he was doing it, he was just kind of like forcing himself to do it, but he's like half looking. There's a lot of anxiety there. He's just like talking in his head. He's not actually seeing what is going on in that person's face and their emotions and their expressions. And I told him, I want you to really look at these women. I want you to see the person there. I want you to see them respond. I want you to see how they light up when you say certain things. I want you to see how they react. Because the irony is, that thing scares you, right? You're like, oh, but what if I see discomfort on her face? What if I see disgust on her face? Well, you have to get used to that sometimes, and you have to be able to process that and deal with it. But if you're afraid of looking at those things, if you're afraid of seeing it, then it becomes infinitely more powerful than it actually is. I've seen many women not be interested in me. You guys have maybe had some dates where people didn't want to pursue you or follow up. It hurts, but it's not the end of the world. And that's what you have to get used to. So your first mindset is, the more I avoid eye contact, the more I will fear it. And what I have to do is really commit to looking at people, looking them in the eyes, seeing the way they react, the way they express themselves. Because funny enough, that will actually make it easier for you to relate. Because if you see emotions, we feel them in ourselves. So if you see warmth or joy, then you tend to get a little bit more warm and excited about the person. If you are not looking for those emotions and you're not actually looking at the individual and you're kind of half looking and talking to them in your head, then you don't really feel any emotions. And the overwhelming emotion is, don't look at them. This is really scary. This is going to be awkward. So counterintuitively, you got to commit to looking at people. You got to really commit to seeing how they respond to you. And it will actually weaken your fears over time. The next mindset I want you to understand is that what I am doing is healthy. This is what humans have been doing for thousands of years. It is natural. It is essential to connection. And even if you are looking at a woman, for example, it's okay to let them know that I might be interested in you and I'm trying to get to know you. People are not upset by that generally. That's something you really have to believe, is that this is a normal, healthy process to building a connection, even if I might be romantically interested in somebody, because that is the only way that you're going to connect with them. If I am avoiding eye contact and I don't want them to see that I'm looking at them, I don't want them to see that I'm trying to connect with them and I'm excited to get to know them, then they're going to feel that. They're going to feel this person doesn't want to really connect with me. They're hiding something. They're ashamed of something. They are avoiding getting to know me. And even subconsciously, that's what makes people feel uncomfortable. You are avoiding eye contact and you are telling yourself they're going to be weirded out. And that becomes true in your mind because you have nothing to disprove that. You avoid eye contact, you never look first, therefore you never see a warm reaction to you, you never see somebody feel flattered or excited to talk to you, and the only answer you have in your head is, see, when I'm going to look at people, it will be weird. But when you do it a few times and you see that a lot of people respond warmly, they react positively, they're excited to get to know you, not everybody, and that's the point as well, then your brain starts to go, well, wait a sec, plenty of people want to connect with me, and it's okay to look at people. And it's okay for them to look at me back. So you have to break that habit slowly. I'm not saying you need to do this overnight and go walk around and stare 100 women down in the eyes. We're going to talk about exercises and steps in a moment, but you have to trend towards getting really, really good at eye contact. Now, if she tells you, hey, listen, I'm busy, or I got a boyfriend, for example, you went up to talk to her, and as long as you say, hey, no worries at all, thanks for saying hi, have a great day, most people are fine with that. It's only when you kept staring endlessly, when she's like, I gotta go, or trying to talk to her, that she's like, okay, this person does not listen to my boundaries. I told them I'm not ready. I don't want to talk. They keep pursuing me. That's when things get uncomfortable. But you have to show people, I'm excited to get to know you, even if it is romantically. I want to get to know you, because that will make them feel like I can trust this person. I know what their intentions are here, and they want to get to know me. And it always feels nice, even if you might not like somebody, it feels nice to be seen as interesting or attractive or smart or desirable. Again, it only really upsets people when you get to that point where they feel like, I'm letting this person know I do not want to keep connecting in some fashion, and they will not stop. They continue to look at me and stare me down. I'm trying to leave. I've left across the room and they're just staring at me from across the room, or they're continuing to try to talk to me. That is where things get uncomfortable. Let's talk about practical tips to great eye contact. The first thing you need to understand is the most important moment that you absolutely need to make eye contact is the first 5 or 10 seconds when you initiate conversation with somebody. Because those are the moments, again, where somebody's going to judge really quickly, okay, can somebody look at me and I feel like they're honest and being present, or are they uncomfortable and shifty and awkward, and therefore I don't know how to feel. I'm uncomfortable, I immediately start to close off, and it starts the foundation off in a very, very different way depending on how you initiate. Either people are going to be relaxed and open and more eager to talk to you, or they're going to be defensive and closed off and like, ooh, I don't know how to feel in this situation, because clearly they're panicking, they're uncomfortable, and that makes me unsettled. Because also when somebody's really uncomfortable and anxious and unsettled, we don't know how they're going to emotionally react. Some people freak out, some people bail, some people get closed off, some people get angry. So the most important time that I would say, if you have to get good at eye contact, it is initiating conversation in those first 5 to 10 seconds. Because also you're generally walking up to them if you're a guy talking to a woman, and you got to give them 5 to 10 seconds of like, hey, this person's with me, they're present, and I can trust them a little bit more. Now, what I would say is when you also initiate, as you guys meet eyes, it's natural to smile at that point. It's not always essential. You can have a neutral face, you can kind of have a smirk, but I think if you like make eye contact with people and you're very serious, even if you're making good eye contact right at the beginning, then it can be like, okay, this person's staring me down. Maybe they see something wrong. Do I got something on my face that's weird? It again probably sends the wrong message. So you don't have to like walk around pretending to smile and like looking at people like cheesy. But when you look over at somebody and they look up at you and they catch your attention, naturally, I think a smile should come over you. You should say in your head, like, hey, I want to get to know you. Hey, how you doing? And feel good about connecting with them. And generally a smile will start to appear. If you're actually looking for their facial expressions, you're looking at them sincerely, then it's like, cool, I'm excited to talk to you. Generally, when you're making eye contact, you want to look at one eye at a time. This is also counterintuitive to a lot of guys. They try to like look in somebody's eyes because you say make eye contact, look in their eyes. But that's really hard to look at two focal points, right? It actually like makes you like, I mean, you can have like kind of wide eyes and it just doesn't look natural. Right now, when I'm looking at the camera, there's only one lens, right? And I'm looking right into the lens at that central point. I'm not like splitting my eye contact up. So generally what you want to do is look at one eye at a time. Now, when you go to break it, that's where you can kind of break it gently and then move to another eye if that feels more comfortable for you. You don't have to like keep looking in the same eye. I know sometimes if you're staring at an eye for 5 minutes, even if you're breaking it, it feels a little weird. So you can actually rotate between eyes and sometimes kind of the nose and the mouth. They used to call this triangular gazing, but it's a pretty natural way to kind of mix it up, both for the other person, but also for yourself. So okay, I'm looking at their eye, I'm talking to them, I'm laughing, we're hanging out for a little bit. Okay, I'm going to think for a second, break eye contact. Now I'm going to go back and I'm looking into the other eye. And then maybe we'll talk for a while. And then I'm like, oh, shoot. And I'll break eye contact, think about something. And maybe I'm looking at their mouth or their nose. And don't get too like obsessed about this. You don't have to constantly rotate. Just if you're feeling like this is uncomfortable to look at this person in this way for a long period of time, then it's okay to kind of shift that. I will just say, keep it to kind of here. Don't like look at the top of somebody's forehead or their brow. That's actually like an intimidation or dominance technique. They see in the animal kingdom when you look at somebody's brow and you kind of stare at their forehead. I don't know why, but it feels like you're looking into like attack them, and people can feel that way. So as long as you kind of keep it in this triangular area, you're good. I think it's most important that you hold eye contact longer while they're talking, and you can break it more frequently while you're talking. So I like, again, to give some rough estimate. I think about 70% of the time while someone's talking, I'll be looking at them. And about 50% of the time or so when you're talking, you'll be looking at them. And again, that could be like a 5 to 10 second window. So they're telling me a story and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, blah, 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 blah. I'm listening, 8 seconds go by. And naturally, most people talk in a few sentences and then have a pause, okay? So that's when that natural 5 to 10 seconds come. They're telling me a little bit of a story. I'm listening for a while. And then like 8 seconds go by, they finish their statement. And I'm like, I never thought of it that way. Okay, and I go back to looking at them. Now, the reason why you especially want to make sure that you're holding good eye contact while they're talking and while you're listening is that you show that you're present and you're interested in what they're saying and that you're excited. If you're like constantly breaking eye contact while they're talking and you're like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, that sounds good, then they just feel like you're checking out or they're boring you or you're just not that interested. But if you break it while you're talking, and they're listening, then it doesn't feel the same way. It's like, yeah, so I mean, I remember growing up and I felt really different in my town. It can feel like you're thinking, you're trying to gather your words, you're being thoughtful when you are making a little less eye contact while you're speaking. So that's the most important thing is 70-50 rule, roughly 70% of the time while someone's talking, you make eye contact. 50% of the time while you're talking, you make eye contact. And roughly you're going to break it every 5 to 10 seconds or so as a natural rhythm. When you go to break eye contact, what you want to do is make sure you do it casually. The worst thing you can do is dart your eyes. And I know sometimes, like you guys said, there's that feeling of like, oh my God, this is so tense. Like I need to just look away. I can't even like be looking at this person anymore. I'm going to freak out. But you got to train yourself to at least just casually look past and look back. Just take a breath. You can break it, but you don't need to go, right? Because that, again, shows panic, shows fear, shows discomfort. And it makes the other person start to go, okay, that's the only way I can feel. Because as humans, we reciprocate, we mirror, and especially body language. So if you are like casual and you go to break it and you come back, it feels easy. It feels relaxed. It does not feel like this guy's breaking eye contact because things are getting too intense. Now, not only will the speed of breaking eye contact dictate how it feels, but the direction of the eye contact when you break it. So it's fine to break eye contact off to the side, past somebody, directly to the side of them. So you could look past, you could look off to the side, you can look up or up into the side. That's all fine. Just don't look down. And a lot of guys, that's their natural inclination. They'll be making eye contact with someone, they get nervous and they're like, oh God, right? Or like this. And unconsciously as humans, when somebody tucks their head and looks down, it's a very defensive position. This is what animals do when they're getting attacked or wounded, right? They kind of close up, they protect their neck, and they kind of like get smaller. That also sends a signal of like, whoa, this person's really feeling defensive or really feeling scared right now. Even if people aren't conscious of it, it's just a gut feeling. So when guys say like, how should I break eye contact? Again, just casually. It could be off to the side. It can be looking past them. It can be up. It can be up to the side where you're thinking. That's natural, right? Like sometimes when we think, we go up into the side or we're like, that's crazy. And then you go back to the person. But most of the time when we're actually thinking and we're comfortable, think about like when you talk to your family or friends, you're not like, oh yeah, dude. So, how was the trip, man? Right? You're like, man, that sounds crazy. Like I would have loved to be there. Okay, and maybe you go up and over, but you're not like tucking your head down and going, oh, that trip sounds fantastic, dude. I'm so jealous. All right, that's the biggest key. And let's talk about some practical exercises coming up. Develop a natural smile, practice it. So for those who don't know, there's a fake smile and a real smile for simplicity. And when researchers have studied this, the difference is whether we smile with our eyes or not. And people are incredibly perceptive at picking up on this unconsciously. When they run studies and they show people 10 photos of people they told to like real smile or not smile, people can guess what that person was told to do about 90% of the time. And the difference is if you just smile and your lips just kind of go out and you go, hey, then it feels like a fake smile because a real smile doesn't just go straight out. It tends to go out and up towards your eyes. So instead of pulling with your muscles from the side here and just pulling it straight, you take these little muscles, these cheek muscles, and you kind of pull it up so that it crinkles your eyes. So you're up, your smile, I mean, literally draw a smile. When you draw a smile, does it draw straight or do you draw like this? And most of the time when I notice guys are fake smiling, they just go, and their eyes are very like, not expressive, not crinkled, and it feels disingenuous. But if you learn to clench these muscles and pull your smile up, and you go, and you kind of like, see how that crinkle happens? That should happen when you naturally smile. When you don't really get much of a crinkle. And that's what people pick up on. A great technique to do this, either practice in the mirror and try to think of good thoughts, and then feel your muscles tighten, like clench them up and pull them. But a great technique, let me see if I have a pen. Probably don't have a pen, I have a cable. They call it the pencil trick. You take a pencil, you go in the mirror, and you put it right in between your front teeth and your bottom teeth, and you clench down. And when you do that, it clenches these muscles and naturally pulls your smile up. Shall she? you get a lot of crinkling in your eyes. So if you feel like you don't know how to naturally smile, try not smiling from the side, try using those muscles, look in the mirror, put a pencil in your teeth, and clench down. And now, if I take it out, my smile's pretty natural. And this is also just a habit you have to build. Do it in the mirror for a while. Do it till you feel how it feels to use those muscles. Take some selfies and try that trick. And it will change. I had a horrible natural smile. It's why I hated taking photos of myself and why I never enjoyed photos of me, because I just couldn't do it. People would say cheers and I'd go uncomfortably. But now, like, it's easy. That's my natural smile. When I laugh, when I'm warm with people, like, my body's been trained to smile in that fashion. It's just another habit that you need to break. And in case you guys want to know what it's called a Duchenne smile is what they call a real smile. You can look up some YouTube videos, type in like pencil trick smile, and I'm sure you're going to find content. I mean, I know there's content out there. I've watched plenty of it that teaches you how to do that.
The next exercise is to practice soft eye contact using a mirror.
But first I have to explain what that means. Natural eye contact is soft, and that means you're not putting any real intention behind looking at the object. You're not staring at it. While hard eye contact is you're really focused on it, you're trying to like look at it and you're staring. So for example, if I like look away and I want to like stare the camera down, okay, and I'm like staring really hard to like make sure I'm looking at it, what happens? Your eyes tend to widen. They tend to like pull back and your eyes bulge a little bit. Your face gets really tense and it looks really scary. And this is what happens with a lot of guys when they first start thinking about eye contact and learning it. They're so afraid of like looking away or not making good eye contact that they put a lot of intention behind it. They're like, yeah, that's awesome. Tell me more. And it looks really scary. And that's hard eye contact. Soft eye contact happens when we just naturally glance and look at something. Okay, if somebody was to call your name and you looked over, okay, you're not going to go look over and go. You're going to just look over and go, yeah, what's up, man? So how do we train that? What I want you to do is same thing. This is going to be your exercise, first exercise of the day for understanding hard versus soft eye contact. I tend to find to do this in a mirror is very effective. So first, what I want you to do is pick, something in the mirror or something in your room behind you. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to look away. Maybe just think about some serious thoughts or get a little just like really upset or serious. Doesn't have to be really angry. And then I want you to like look over and really like stare it down. Feel what that looks like. Like I have to look at it to make sure I hold eye contact and see how your face looks. Then I want you to do the same thing. I want you to shake your head out. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to try to relax. I want you to think of something good, something positive, something you're excited about, a place that makes you happy. And then once you do that for a few seconds, I just want you to look over and I want you to gently open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, you're not like looking. I'm just open my eyes and now I happen to be looking in that direction. I'm not staring. I'm not like really needing to focus. I'm just there. That's soft eye contact. There's no tension in my eyes. If I smile, you combine those two things where I have a natural smile and my eyes are nice and relaxed. That is what makes people feel comfortable, is the warmth coming from your eyes and from your smile and not having a really fake smile and like looking at them seriously. And you can practice those things. You can practice the smiling technique by practicing feeling your muscles pull your smile upward or using the pencil technique. You could practice hard versus soft eye contact in the mirror by staring and looking and then looking away and just kind of looking in that direction. And if you can get those two things down, then when people first meet eyes with you, you're going to look very warm, very easy, very chill, very inviting, and still very confident. Soft eye contact isn't like feminine. I'm not telling you to like be like, hi, and like really feminine. Okay. You could just have normal, like chill. I mean, even like when you see an actor or a model and they're just kind of like this and they're doing the cool guy pose. Okay. Their eyes are still very chill and relaxed. They're not like, so we talked about the natural smile exercise. We talked about the hard versus soft eye contact exercise. Let's talk about eye contact drills so that you get used to holding eye contact without breaking it first or breaking it often in a really awkward way. This is again how you can do this in stages. Most guys, they're like, okay, I got to get good with eye contact with women. And then they see a woman out somewhere and they're like, okay, I got to look at her. I got to stare at her. Next set, I got to smile and I got to like hold it. Oh God, this is so intimidating. And then they just can't do it. Or they like put so much pressure on themselves. The woman looks up and they're like, oh God. If you find that to be the case, find smaller steps to get there. And I'm going to give you, for example, like 4 smaller steps to do this. First off, you can start practicing eye contact in passing, where you know that you're not going to continue to see that person, where you don't have to continue to engage them. So you're walking in a store or in a mall or down the street, somebody's walking towards you. As they get about 6 feet away, you can look up, smile at them. I mean, my natural is gesture at people and say hi, but you don't have to do that. But you like look at them and then you walk past. And naturally, you guys are going to break it in a second or so because you're moving past each other. You're not going to be like, as they're leaving, like eyes, okay? Generally, you're going to look up and it's normal to keep walking. And that gets you some initial practice if you're somebody who avoids eye contact almost all the time. And you can do this with everybody. You could do this with men and couples and older women if it's too hard to do it with women to start with. But in passing is a pretty safe way to get some initial exposure without feeling like you have to commit to it fully. Now, another step that you could take is, again, picking somebody who's less intimidating than just a random beautiful woman out in a coffee shop across, the table, and like you don't want to stare her down. You could, again, look over and you see a guy and you're like, hey, what's up? And you make eye contact with him if you can't do that. Maybe you can make eye contact with a woman you are less intimidated by on a physical level. Maybe you can try to make eye contact with the people that are working at the store, a cashier, a bank teller, a waitress, that are still women who naturally might intimidate you, but you probably feel a bit more comfortable because you know that they have to be friendly to you and it's normal to engage with them and look at them. So that could be stage 2, is I'm going to try with some people that intimidate me less, or some working people that I know they kind of have to be friendly and they're not going to judge me. It's natural to look at your waitress and say, hey, can I grab another Coke? Right? Now from there, you could say duration is the answer. Maybe I'm going to start doing eye contact drills with random women that I find attractive and hold eye contact for 1 second. Because normally I can't even do that. Maybe that's your head. I can't even hold a second eye contact. Great. Get used to that. Give yourself permission to look away after a second and move about your day, or not look at them again. Just again, try to practice not looking down. So you look at a woman for a second, you look away, and you go about your business, or you go back to doing whatever you were doing. Now, once you do that, maybe you scale that up to 2 or 3 seconds. And now you hold it a little bit longer. Maybe now they catch eyes with you and they smile back. And then you break it first. That's your third exercise, is working up to 1 to 3 seconds of eye contact and breaking it before they do. The final exercise is being able to hold eye contact with attractive women that are random, not working or anything like that, and allowing them to break it first. And that's where, simply put, you look at a woman, she looks back at you, you guys smile, and you hold it until she's the first person to look away. And then you can look away, and that's fine. And the key there is to be patient and trust that the building blocks will get you there. The problem is, like, as guys, we have such an ego sometimes about getting things right. And when it doesn't suddenly work the first time, we feel like a failure, we feel like a loser, we beat ourselves up, and then we give up. But that's not how we learn with anything. You have to take it in stages. And so if you can take it in stages of do it in passing, do it to people that are less intimidating, do it for 1 to 3 seconds and then look away as the first person, and then eventually get to a point where you can do it where the woman looks away first and then you break it, awesome. And once you work your way up to that and you get a handful of experiences getting to that final stage and you make it a habit, it basically stays with you forever. So those are your 3 exercises for the time being: developing a natural smile, developing soft eye contact, and moving up in stages to the point where you can hold eye contact with a beautiful woman or with somebody else, and they are the first ones to break it. If you do those things, combined with the advice and the mindsets I talked about today, you will be very, very, very attractive in terms of like how much people feel comfortable, feel warm, and feel excited to at least get to know you.